Salty Beauties. So I am here with my first eyebrow tutorial on how to properly shape and fill in your brows. So this is my first one doing brows are so important. If you don't do anything else to your face, you just need a good brow shape, and it literally you won't have to do anything else. So this came per request. You know who you are. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy this video on my brows. This is the first time anybody's seeing my brows naked. So I hope you guys learned something, and if you have any questions, you can message me or put them down below and I will try to answer them. So I will see you guys at the end of the brow video. Alright, Salty Beauties, so things you're going to need to start your brows before you do anything else. Now, if you want to shape them and all that stuff, then you're going to need some little scissors that look like this and a good pair of tweezers. Tweezerman are my favorite and everybody's favorite. They're sharp, they stay sharp for a long time, and they're really precise. And you're going to need a brow brush. Okay, so before I show you how to actually like fill them in and stuff, I'm going to show you how I shape them on a, not every day, but once they start growing in, then this is what I do. And as you can see, both of my, now nobody's ever seen my eyebrows look like this, so you guys are the first. So you can see that both of my eyebrows, they do not look exactly the same. Your eyebrows are not going to look the same. They're not supposed to. They're supposed to be sisters, not twins. So if you keep that in mind when you're doing them, then it'll make things a lot easier. It actually took me a while for me to grasp that concept, since I like things to be as perfect as possible. All right, so the first thing to keep in mind is where you're going to start this shape. So let me get something that's not going to get stuck in my hair. All right, so if you just take any straight object, ruler, pencil, whatever you want to use, you're going to measure where your brows are supposed to be. Now the rule of thumb is they begin right there on the outside corner of your nostril. And then if you, this is awkward for me. If you take the pencil like this, diagonal to the outside corner of your nostril, that's where the arch should be. So right there at a diagonal, basically a 45-degree angle. It also should line up with the center of your pupil. So the whole effect is to lift the eye area. Does that make sense? Okay. And then your brows should end out the right outside the corner of your eye. So it should line up right here. So if your brows go way out here and they start like way in here, then you gotta do some get to your brow person and get them shaped up, because literally the shape of your brows will dictate the way your whole face appears. So you don't want them coming down here, out here, and you also you should also have at least one eyeball space between your brows. So if they're starting way in here, then that's not right. But also, it's also going to depend on your eye shape and where your eyes are. So if you have wide set eyes and you want to make them appear closer together, then you obviously want to bring in that beginning of your brows a little bit closer to your nostril. So instead of being out here, if your eyes are wide set, then you want to bring it in just a little bit more. So, all right. So we got that down. So now you know where your eyebrows should start and where the arch should be, and then where the outside corner should be. So if you keep those three things in mind, you should be good. All right, so the next thing I do is I brush my eyebrows up. And not knowing I was going to do this anytime soon, I have already trimmed my eyebrows. I wax them and everything, but I don't wax them very often. I rather pluck because it's just the way I like to do it. But I'm a plucker every day. I pluck a couple out, so that's probably why I never have enough. The only thing I really wax is down here. You get those really fine hairs and stuff. So you have to be very careful when you do this. Shaping them is going to depend on you trimming the really long hairs, because if they're really long hairs, they're going to make them seem really bushy and out of control and just with no shape. So I brush these up, and then I take the scissors, and you don't want to cut them like right on. That's probably as far down as you want to cut them. I mean, if they're up here, you just don't want to trim them like right here on the edge of your brow line. Because if you do that, they're going to be too short and you're not going to have enough hair. They're going to look sparse. So you want to keep them full, but you don't want them bushy, but you don't want them to look sparse. So probably maybe 1/8 of an inch above is where you want them to land. So that way they have enough to lay down. If you cut them too short, they're going to stand up and they're going to look weird. Hopefully that makes sense. It's hard to explain when it's hard to see what I'm doing. So then you're just going to hold the little comb and you're just going to cut just very carefully across. And then when you get to the other side here, you're going to brush them down. And you're just going to trim off the excess. And the same rule applies. You don't want to cut them too close to your brow line. Just enough just to cut the little extra hairs off. But that'll make a huge difference and give you a good start to your shape. Okay. So now you've done that. And if you're not really sure of your brow shape or what you want, how you want it to be shaped, just try and look at your face shape. I have more of an oval face, but if you have more of a angular face or square type face, then you're going to want your brows to be a little more rounded, more of a softer look, so that way it balances out. If you have more of a round type face, oval face, or anything like that that's more of without angles, as many angles, then you want your brows to be more angular. So that's why I have a little bit more of an angle and more of a point going on mine. So, all right, so the things you're gonna need, I already told you need one of these. That's so you can brush them into place. The next thing that's helpful is a brow pencil, preferably one that's got a tiny little tip on it. This one's from Anastasia Beverly Hills. This is a really good color. This one's soft brown. Good colors are any brown or ashy type colors. If you don't want a brow pencil, you can use a powder brow palette. This one I think I got at Sally's Brow Defining Kit. A good little angled brush for precision, for getting in the arch. And then something a little bit thicker. This one came with that powder brow kit. So, all right. So the first thing I do is I usually put on a primer. I've already done that. That way it has something to stick to. So over here, I'm going to do more of a daytime brow look. All right, so the first thing I do is I decide what shape I'm going for. And I usually just go, I don't really try to change my shape drastically unless I'm doing some, you know, some avant-garde type of look, or, you know, costume type look, or you really want to change your brow shape. But I really just stick with what it's already got going on. So I just lightly start making little hair-like strokes. And I always start with the top because that'll give you an idea of how you want to do the others, the bottom part. And this is a good daytime look because it's not harsh and it's more of a natural type of look. So then when I get here to the where the arch starts, I'm going to start making the shape. So instead of following the exact shape, I'm going to just go outside the shape just a little bit. You can see right there, I don't have any hair there, but I'm making, that's where the little point is going to be. And then I'm just going to connect it. I'm going to drag it down. And you don't have to do, it's not like you're drawing it on like that. You're just making little hair-like strokes. And I just elongate the tail just a little bit. I mean, I'm not going to pass where I said to pass. I mean, I don't have a lot of hair there, so I'm just going to make it just a little bit. And then depending on how much of an angle I want, I also, if I want them more straight, I'm going to draw the line straighter here. But as you can see, they naturally go at an angle like this. So I can either stick with that or I can fill them in to where they go more straight across. And that'll give this more of a fuller look here. All right, so then we're going to, the same thing at the bottom. I'm going to start right here. As you notice, I'm not starting here. I'm starting more back. And just doing the same thing, just following the already natural brow. Almost like you're outlining it. And I just want to show you right here, see where I have this? This is an example of cutting the hairs too short. So you see, if these hairs were longer, they would fill in this little space that I have. So since I've cut them too short a couple times ago, getting carried away, I now have to manually fill that in. So I'm just going to add a little bit of extra strokes in there. So it gives the illusion that they're long enough. And this is going to take a little bit of practice until you figure out how you want them to look. Now, if they're a little sparse or not dark enough, you can go in with the powder. And I usually mix the colors together because your brows are not just one. And I just kind of grab a little bit of both. And I just lightly fill in, just dragging it into the brow area there. This is a good reason to use primer. If you don't have primer, they have brow wax is good, so the powder will stick to the brow wax. But since I already put primer on, I don't need. And this will just, it's a softer look with the powder than with the pencil or the gel. And just the same thing, just little tiny strokes. And then you can just brush them into place. And it should look like that. Now, I don't use this type of technique on my brows just because of this little hole I have there. That's why I use the gel technique, because for me it fills that in better. It's, I mean, as you can see, I've used both of these and it's still not filling in the way I would like it to. But I mean, that's a good daytime brow. Now, I'm a little more dramatic and I like to have them a little more defined. So now we're going to go over here to this brow and I'm going to show you how to do it with the gel. And this is Anastasia Beverly Hills Dip Brow Pomade. It's literally just like a cream gel. It's waterproof. So, and I also use this little tiny brush. This is the technique I use on my own brows, both brows, whether it's day, well, if it's nighttime, they get a little bit darker. But for my typical pictures that you always see that I post, this is what I do. So, and I do the same technique basically that I do on the other side, just with different products. So hopefully you guys can see this. So it's the same thing. I'm starting and just very gently just dragging this on the very edge of the brow. And the same thing, I'm dragging it right past where the arch starts. And you see where I don't have hair there. I'm just going to connect. I'm going to start bringing it down. So you can see where now it has a point. I'm just going to get a little bit more product and just darken it just a little bit and bringing it down. This gives the illusion of thicker brows. And the same thing here, I'm going to just drag this just a little bit straighter across so they're more. All right, so you can see already how the shape is coming together. So now I'm going to go and do the same thing to the underneath, and you can see how sparse my eyebrows are, the same as this one was. And I'm going to start right here. You guys see that? In that little hole. So right before that, I'm just going to start following just right at the very edge. Not where there isn't any hair, but just literally right on the line of hair. And I'm just going to start lightly dragging this up to where the arch is. And I'm actually going to fill in right on that arch with this gel. Because you want the darkest part of the brow to be right there at the arch. It's all about illusion. So the darker it is, it's going to recede, so it's going to make that stand out a lot more. And then the same thing I did on the other side. I'm just going to start dragging it down. And then I just go back and lightly just blend that together. I don't get any more product. I'm just going to naturally just buff that in with what I have left on the brush. And then when I get over here to the front, I still don't get any more product. I'm just brushing it up. Because it's almost like an ombre thing. You want the lightest part to be here, and then it gradually gets darker. So you see I didn't use a lot of product at all. So yeah, that's it. So you can tell the difference between these two, how more defined this one is than this one. But I mean, this one just gives it a more natural look. Now, pretty much it. Then after that, I just kind of go in and brush them lightly to get the product distributed evenly, like that. Then you can do this extra step if you want to. You don't have to, but you see this light portion here. This is a cream matte highlighter crayon. It's also by Anastasia. You don't have to use this, but it's just anything matte if you're going for a natural look, but this will really define the arch. And this is just putting this in that little space, and it really cleans up and defines the brow even more. So just doing that. And do not get it on your eyebrow hairs. Okay, and then I just go in with a little synthetic brush, and I just pat that and blend that in. And it just really cleans up that brow area. You don't have, that one's more of a pinkish toned. I have another one that's more in the peachy type family. I mean, you can use either one, whatever one you like better. I think Anastasia has both colors. So hopefully this helped you guys. Sorry it's so long, but I mean, once you get it down, it shouldn't take you more than 10 minutes to do brows, and it takes me 15 just because I'm anal. Yeah. What else? If you guys have any more questions, you can put them in the comment section, and I'll try and answer them. If you have something that I didn't cover or be more specific. Yeah, so you just have to practice. They even have stencils. So I think I got some stencils from Sally's a while back that if you're not sure about your brow shape, you can lay the stencil on and then fill it in that way, and you can play with different shapes and stuff like that. So don't be afraid. I mean, you can tell what a big difference it is just by me putting on my eyebrows from compared to before. So I've just seen a lot of crazy eyebrows out there, and I felt it was time to do a tutorial. All right, I hope you guys enjoyed it.